Morning, everybody. It's Mr. Chase. Today we're going over Chapter 15, Lesson 3, the excretory system. So let's get started. There we go. All right. So the excretory system, which should really be called the urinary tract, mostly because that's what we're going to focus on. But the question is, what does the excretory system do? You could probably take a good guess at that. How do the parts of the excretory system work together? Again, we have a system made up of specific organs, and it's important to understand how they all work together and what jobs they do, what function they have. And then how does the excretory system interact with other body systems? And we've seen this question a lot just so far in our study of the human bodies. So body systems always interact with other body systems, and it's helpful to know how the excretory system works with those other systems. Here's your vocabulary. Obviously, excretory system, the kidneys, I should say, what a nephron is, urine, which you probably already know what that is, ureter, let's play that one out. I may not be saying that right.
Ureter. A
Ureter.
tube
Okay,
through which urine leaves each kidney.
Bladder and urethra. All right, so what are the functions? What does the excretory system do? It collects and eliminates waste, mostly liquid waste, from the body, and regulates the level of fluid in the body. If the waste products are not removed or eliminated from your body, it could become toxic and damage your organs, and you could eventually die. The excretory system regulates the level of fluids in the body by controlling how much water leaves the body through elimination. So what does the excretory system do? It should be able to name at least two things: eliminates waste and controls the water level inside the body. All right, so the excretory system is made up of four other subsystems. So we have the urinary system, which we're going to talk about kind of a lot here. We've already talked about the integumentary system, the digestive system. We've already talked about that just in the previous lesson, and the respiratory system is another component of the excretory system, the larger excretory system, and we'll be talking about that coming up here shortly. All right, so the digestive system collects and removes undigested solids, which we've already talked about, or semi-solids, it should say, from the foods you eat. The urinary system processes, transports, collects, and removes liquid waste from the body. All right. The respiratory system removes carbon dioxide, which is a gas, and water vapor, also a gas, from the body. The integumentary system, which includes the skin, secretes excess salt and water through the sweat glands. And we've already talked about that. Hopefully you're familiar with that. All right, what are the main organs of the urinary system? And this is what we're going to kind of focus on in this lesson. The organs of the urinary system work together to process, transport, and collect and excrete liquid waste. So there's four things it does: processes, transports, collects, and then excretes those liquid wastes. The organs of the urinary system include two kidneys, hopefully, two ureters, the bladder, and the urethra. The bean-shaped organs that filter or removes waste from the blood is called the kidneys. So your blood flows through there, and it pulls out the waste products. And you can see them sort of identified here in this photo. And the ureters, you can see the lighter sort of tan color, and then the bladder below that, the pinkish color. Oh, there we go. That's naming that for you. Okay, so we have two kidneys coming off. Each one of those kidneys is a ureter. That's why there's two. And then both kidneys and ureters flow into the single bladder and the urethra then after the bladder. The bladder holds the liquid, kind of expands very much in some ways similar to the stomach, although a little bit more muscular. And then when it triggers the sensor, then your bladder contracts. The urethra allows the urine to flow straight out of the body using mostly gravity. So it's kind of a cool system when you think about it. The body has two kidneys, one on each side of the body, near the back wall of the abdomen. So that's your lower part of your torso, and above the waist and below the rib cage. So you find your ribs, go around to the back, and just below those in the back would be where your kidneys are, generally speaking. Nephrons are networks of capillaries, so those are blood vessels, or small tubes or tubules in the kidneys where the filtration of the blood occurs. So we'll learn more about those here, I think, in a minute. Nephron, from the Greek nephros, which means kidney. That's kind of obvious in some ways and funny in others. All right, so here we have a single kidney, and you see the urine coming off of it there, the tan-colored tube-like structure, and then you see the blood vessels going into the kidney and the blood vessels coming out. So you have the renal artery, which is in, and then the vein, which is out. And now we have a close-up here, and it shows in more detail the structure, the microscopic structure of what's happening. And we'll get into this. But so here during the first filtration, water, sugar, salt, and waste pass from the capillaries, right? That's the blood vessels, into small tubes. So the little sort of twirly pretzel-looking things, that's the blood vessel coming in. And then all that other stuff, the water, sugar, salt, and waste are going to pass into these collection tubes, which are the tan items. And then you'll see that those collection tubes from all those different capillaries then flow into a collecting duct, which is a little bit larger. All right, during the second filtration, water and nutrients pass from the small tubes, right, into the blood vessels that surround them. And then finally, urine travels through the collecting duct to the ureter. When blood is filtered, a fluid called urine is produced. So when you filter out blood and get all the waste products, those waste products are called urine. Urine leaves each kidney through a tube called the ureter. So the blood flowing into the kidneys being filtered a couple different ways. The waste products are coming out and being collected, and then they end up in the ureter. Ureter means, from Greek, oretha, which means passage for urine, which again, it's kind of funny because it's like, it means what it is. Both ureters drain into the bladder, which is a muscular sac, which I already said, holds the urine until the urine is excreted. So it builds up and then it triggers a sensor, like a sensor, in your, it's a nerve really, in your bladder that says, oh, it's time to go because I'm full. Urine leaves the bladder through the tube called the urethra, which contains circular muscles called sphincters that control the release of urine. So those are like valves, and very similar to what's happening at the anus. We have those valves that close and open. Thank goodness they are under voluntary control, because imagine what it would be like if you didn't have control. You'd be like a baby, just peeing or pooping whenever stuff sort of collected. So it's a good thing we now have control. We're all old enough to have control. How do ureters, bladder and urethra work together to excrete urine, right? So the ureters collect it, the bladder holds it, and the urethra is part of the releasing system. All right. One of the things that's interesting about any body system are the disorders that can happen when things go wrong. A urinary disorder is an illness that affects one or more organs of the urinary system. Okay, urinary tract infection, typically a bacteria, will get in there and irritate things and inflame the urinary tract somewhere along the line, and so you need to get antibiotics for that. All right, this is a big, kind of a large table, and I'm not going to spend the entire time going over this. I'm pretty sure this is in your book as well, so you can look at these, but you should be familiar with the disorder and what happens in that disorder and what the causes are. So we have kidney disease, urinary tract infection, which we mentioned, kidney stones, and bladder control problems. All right, so there's those are the four disorders. You should be familiar again with what causes them and what the disease is, what the disorder is, what happens when you have that disorder. All right. Excretory system and homeostasis. There's that word we've been hearing over and over and over again, and that's again that body's effort to keep itself in a steady state where it's healthy and everything's working like it's supposed to. The excretory system helps maintain homeostasis by filtering waste from the blood and removing waste from the digestive system. Okay, so that's the excretory system, not just the urinary tract. Sorry about the pop-up there. I'm not sure why that's even doing that. All right, the excretory system, again, that's all four of those subsystems, also interacts with the hypothalamus, which we haven't talked about. It's up in the lower part of your brain, kind of inside. The hypothalamus of the nervous system to help maintain homeostasis. I don't like how it doesn't explain that. That would be a great wonder question, and we probably should talk about that in class. Like, how does the excretory system interact with that hypothalamus? Well, first of all, where is the hypothalamus and how does it interact with it? All right, how does the excretory system interact with the nervous system? And that's again through that hypothalamus. All right, so the excretory system, again, we're kind of focused on the urinary tract to be fair, but the excretory system, which is made up of those 4 subsystems, collects and eliminates waste from the body and regulates the level of fluid in the body, and that would be the urinary tract system in particular. That's regulating that level of fluid. The respiratory system is one of the body systems that makes up the excretory system. It eliminates mostly gases, waste gases. We haven't talked about it yet in detail, but we will, and this is more or less of a preview of that coming up. The organs of the urinary system, urinary tract system, process, it's those 4 words again, process, transport, collect, and excrete waste. Obviously, pretty clearly, you're going to need to know those 4 terms because that's what the urinary tract system does. All right, which system helps maintain homeostasis by filtering, that's the key word, waste from the blood and removing waste from the digestive system? And so if you said excretory system, then you would be correct. When blood is filtered through the kidneys, what substance is produced? Hopefully you know this now. Urine. Okay, so that's a product of filtering the blood system. Urine is. And the muscular sac that holds urine until it is excreted is the bladder. And what do you think now? Do you agree or disagree? Several human body systems work together to eliminate waste. Hopefully you're going to agree with that, and hopefully, you'll even know that there's 4 of those body systems. Blood contains waste products that must be removed from the body. Agree or disagree? Hopefully by now you should clearly agree. All right, and there you go. So we'll come back to this and do our chapter review, but otherwise that's lesson 3 of chapter 15, and I'll see you guys in class. Thanks.